Bulls have another letdown over the course of the weekend, and one of the questions that I want to talk about on today's episode is, should the Chicago Bulls actually be looking to keep Lonzo Ball long-term rather than move? We're going to talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, y'all. I'm glad to be back in the building today. My bad, the episode is late. For those that don't know, I've had technical difficulty after technical difficulty today. Not that that matters, but when your graphics card goes out on your computer, which is a custom-built PC, and it has no integrated graphics, the whole thing shuts down, for those that don't know. And so we've been dealing with that when it comes down to it, so I haven't been able to record the episode today until now. Actually went down while I was planning out this episode, thanks to my dog who knocked over a bottle of water, and it landed on my PC. So, we're still getting some things. There may be some things that aren't quite up to par here, but, we'll get into it all together. With that said, though, the Chicago Bulls over the course of this weekend on Sunday, right along with the Chicago Bears, completely and utterly disappointed. I don't know what's going on with the Bulls, right? No, let me not say that. That's not a fair statement at all. That's actually a lie. I know exactly what's going on with the Chicago Bulls team. They suck. That's what's going on with the Chicago Bulls team. And I've said this multiple times. I've gone over the statistics. I've done X, Y, Z. Is that the Bulls are going to be a team that are gonna win some games, and they're gonna look damn good winning some of those games. As a matter of fact, you're gonna see them win some of the games, and you're gonna be like, hey, this team, if they could just they could be right there. Nah, this team's bad. And this team is going to be bad for the majority of the season. That's just the way that it's going to go for this team. There's not really a lot of workarounds for that. This is going to be a bad basketball team. This is going to be a bad basketball team. And of course, Dalen Terry, we'll see what's going on with him. But overall, this team is just, they have no half-court offense. And that's really the thing that's going to really limit this team the most. It's not like the defense is there, make no mistake about it. They're going to be bad defensively. And so, but when you add in that you're bad defensively and that you give up a bunch of points in the paint, you're bad in pick and roll defense, and then when you turn around and you don't get those things on the other side, the Bulls do nothing that makes anything easy on them. And that's the problem and limitation of this team. There's no easy offense for this team if they're not attacking and getting out in transition and getting lucky from three. But the things that you look at that make an offense good, that make an offense viable, those are just things that this team does not do consistently. They don't get those looks consistently. They don't get those looks and those easy buckets. And so because of that, this is going to be a team offensively that is just going to continue to, when a team ratchets it up defensively, or you get in some clutch scenarios where the game slows down for you, the Bulls are almost always going to falter in those times because they just don't understand how to, they don't execute those things well. And personally, right? And you guys can tell me how you feel. The way that I look at half-court offense in the NBA is that it really comes down to a few things. It comes down to execution, coaching, and scheme. Coaching, Billy Donovan said that they're going to work on some things, incorporating some things over this longer break. Execution, we allow 20 points off turnovers almost per game. So talk about the execution there. And scheme. Do we have a scheme? Do we have, and all other than getting out and running and taking open 3-point shots and passing the ball around, do we actually have a scheme? And that's I called it the button mashing offense before. That's still what this Chicago Bulls team is. It's the button mashing offense because they don't have anything. And so when you combine those things already with the framework of a team that is just not good defensively, tell you what, It's some very, very bad basketball that's going to be played, and like I said, they're going to look good sometimes. I want to always give the team credit for something that they're going to do, and they're going to look good at times. This is going to be a basketball team that there are going to be some times where they look good on that basketball court. But then there are going to be other times where we're looking at this team and we're wondering, is this an actual NBA offense? Is that what this is? Is this an actual NBA offense, or is this just a bunch of NBA players out there getting cardio in? And the answer to that question, where they end up falling on that, that's going to be hugely important for this team. And it's going to be a long season. I've told you guys before. At the beginning of the season, when so many people thought, oh, this team could win 40 games. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maddie says, wait, see, it always refreshes on me. I don't know. That's Rob, actually. Practice maybe helps. We'll see. Hopefully, right? Like, this one thing about an NBA team, they don't always get a lot of opportunities to do a lot of practices. They have shoot-arounds, but a lot of practices they don't always get to have, so maybe there's a chance of that. We got Frederick says, what up, Haize? Went to the UC for that game yesterday. We had no answer for Embiid. Would like to see the Bulls play better defense and not give up so many easy points. The problem is, though, Frederick, is that we don't have a good defensive team. We got, look, let's how many players on this team would you look at and say are actual defenders? P. Will, he can defend. Zach LaVine's being more active defensively. I still wouldn't necessarily call him a defender, right? Dalen Terry, Ayo Dosunmu. Everybody else is bad on ball. Jalen Smith is a good help defender and weak side defender, but he's a terrible on-ball defender. We already know what Vooch is on ball. Josh Giddey couldn't defend a sneeze if he wanted to. Kobe White's regressed defensively from where he was last season. Julian Phillips has the reputation of a defender, but when you look at the advanced analytics, he really hasn't defended overall effectively in the NBA yet. It could very well come for him, but yet he hasn't been a really good defender in the NBA. We don't have the defenders. So I would love this team. And I said it before. If this team could be just middle of the pack, slightly below, if you can be the 18th, have the 18th best defensive rating in the league with the way that the Bulls are able to score at times, I think that this is a team that then I would say this is probably a play-in team. But we don't even have that. We don't got that consistently. And that's what it gets down to. And that's one of the problems for this team. We just don't have the upside defensively, realistically. We don't. Now, I would say this. Teams giving more effort more consistently will help in that area. Make no mistake about it. If you have players that just constantly give effort, you can be an okay defense. But then we also have players that just fall asleep, right? We have players that just fall asleep defensively. Sometimes, I'm going to tell you right now, and again, I'm not a Josh Giddey hater or Josh Giddey denier or whatever it is, but I will say this. There are times where I watch Josh Giddey defensively, and it makes DeMar DeRozan look like a lockdown defender. At times, I'm not saying for the most part, because I'll actually say this, when Josh Giddey is locked in defensively, Josh Giddey also does some things defensively that I actually like to see. The block shots that he's able to get on other guards because he has the extra length there has been really good. Those type of things have helped this team, right? How he does get in the passing lanes when Josh Giddey does play heads up. You know what it is? Here's the thing. I don't think, as much as Josh Giddey is a high IQ player on offense, we have no IQ on defense. None. Even Patrick Williams, who's a really good defender, it's more instincts and size. Patrick Williams isn't sitting there looking at what a team's trying to do offensively and being like, oh, we don't have defensive IQ outside of Ayo is probably the one player I'll say has some really good defensive IQ. Everybody else is instincts. Matas Buzelis has been a solid defender for us at times, better than I was expecting coming into this, but we don't have defensive IQ. We just don't. We don't. Vaughn says, I think you do have the defenders, but our team is built around Zach and Vooch, who aren't really that, and our best defenders aren't on the floor together for long periods of time because of our starters. Who are our defenders, Vaughn? And that sounded sarcastic. I didn't mean that sarcastically at all. I just meant like, who? Who would you list out as our defenders? Oh, he did. Cool. Dalen, IOP, Will Phillips, Matas showing flashes. Matas is showing flashes of being a good defender. Ayo, yes. P. Will, yes. Dalen, yes. Like I said, Julian Phillips, you know what the thing is with Julian Phillips? And I know people are going to disagree with this, but go and look. Julian Phillips is Patrick Williams. How Patrick Williams is on offense, that's kind of Julian Phillips on defense. The only difference is He moves. Like Julian Phillips is active and it makes you think he's a good defender, but go and watch some of the lanes that Julian Phillips picks up. Go and look at how the times that Julian Phillips doesn't fight over screens. Go and look at some of the times where he decides to go under screens. Julian Phillips is always moving defensively, and I love that because I think that eventually that's going to come along. But Julian Phillips is a very bad IQ defensive player so far in his NBA career. Go next time the Bulls play and Julian Phillips is playing, look at what he does on some defensive rotations for that. And I'm telling you, once you see it, you can never unsee it. And you'll be looking at Julian Phillips going forward like, hey, wait a second. He's just moving his arms. That's how it feels sometimes with Julian Phillips. It's like he's active, he's moving out there, but he's not really doing nothing. That's my opinion, at least. Next up, we're going to talk about Lonzo Ball and should the Chicago Bulls look to keep Lonzo Ball. But first, we're going to get to a message from Mint Mobile. Here's the deal. Oh, wait, hold on. We're not going to get the sponsor mad at me. Here's the deal with big wireless providers. What they advertise and what you actually pay are two very different things. Between the storefront sign and your first bill, the price tag can somehow double. Thanks to hidden fees and surprise charges, with Mint Mobile, that's just not the case. They say $15 for a month for the 3-month plan, and they mean it. Imagine saying goodbye to monthly bills that make your jaw drop and wondering why you got extra charges. Mint Mobile is a premium wireless starting at just $15 a month. Every plan includes high-speed data, unlimited talk and text, and it all runs on the nation's largest 5G network. Keep your current phone and bring along your number and contacts. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNBA. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on the first 3-month plan only. Speed slower than 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Bulls fans. Thank you guys for sticking with us, man, throughout this, and I appreciate that. I was thinking in putting this episode together about 10 hours ago when I was supposed to originally do the episode before I was cursed by a demon. I'm telling y'all, it is what it is. If y'all knew the day I had, y'all be like, Haize, you really decided to still podcast? You could have took the day off. It is what it is. But when I was sitting here thinking, and I wanted to back it up with numbers, right? Because I was thinking about something. The Bulls are such a better team. When you look at the advanced analytics, the Bulls are so much of a better team when Lonzo Ball is on the court that it almost doesn't make any sense. It almost doesn't make any sense. When Lonzo Ball is on the court, and again, this is a small sample size because he hasn't played a whole lot of games, the Bulls are plus 12.8 differential. When points per 100 possessions, we average 14.5 points per 100 possessions more when Lonzo's on the court. We have a 9% better effective field goal shooting percentage, and we average 4% less turnovers when Lonzo Ball is on the court. When you flip that and look at the defense, teams average 106 points less per, 1.6 points less per 100 possessions when Lonzo's on the court. They do shoot a better field goal shooting percentage, but I think that's more because of who he's out there with. The fact is that Lonzo is having a positive impact for the Bulls. And while I understand, while a lot of people will say no, not to keep Lonzo long-term, the thing, I'm going to put out a framework of this. If Lonzo's willing to take a team-friendly contract, meaning $8 million or less, is Lonzo Ball's value to this team enough to warrant that type of pay because of how he can help young players develop? Because what does Lonzo do? He distributes, he plays defense, he gets players out in transition, he's a willing passer, and he shoots the three. All things that provide spacing, scheme, and format for young players that are trying to learn. Also, Lonzo Ball has a coaching level basketball IQ, meaning I could very well see whatever happens with Lonzo Ball's career that he ends up turning into a head coach and a solid head coach because that's how smart of a player he is. I will not be surprised if Lonzo Ball is the next JJ Redick, meaning that he's the next player that goes after he retires. I'm not saying anytime soon. After he retires, He spends some time maybe in media, maybe doing his podcast, whatever it is, and eventually that coaching call is going to come. Is it worth what Lonzo can help benefit with the young players on this team to end up keeping them long term? That's the question that I have here. And again, I'm not saying just paying whatever to be paid. I do think that it has to be a framework there. I do think that you have to look at it and say, this is what we're willing to pay. If we're willing to pay, if you're willing to take this, we'll keep you on. I think that Lonzo can offer so much for the future of this team that there has to be at least be a thought there. I'm not saying that you have to do it come hell or high water. I'm just saying that there has to be a thought there at least on keeping Lonzo Ball long-term for the Chicago Bulls team. Now, the front office may have already thought that. They may have already thought every scenario, and they may say, hey, we're content with not worrying about it. We're going to move him at this trade deadline and get something back for him. That's a possibility. And I can understand that possibility as well. I just think when you look at trying to add kind of a structure for young players, Lonzo Ball can help add that structure for these young guys that are trying to grow their game in the NBA. That's my personal opinion. And so, look, and again, I'm not necessarily saying that it comes down to Giddey or Lonzo, because some people are going to take this as me saying that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about in a silo, in its own conversation. Is Lonzo Ball worth keeping around here for the Chicago Bulls? JDH. Oh, no, this is Paul. Need to trade Kobe, Lonzo. Wait, that's not the comment I was trying to read. No offense to you there, but I'm not interested in the Kobe trade conversation right now. JDH says, Zoe knows how to impact the game. Keep Zoe. He has overcome and proven himself. We paid him $84 million already. Let's get something out of him. Well, the problem is that you, and this Rob follows it up with this, is the risk involved there, right? And that's why I said there has to be a limit to what you're willing to give Lonzo Ball to stay around here. And I think Lonzo also has to understand why that would be there. Now, Lonzo seems like somebody who's a reasonable person, and I would like to think that Lonzo understands why there would be a limit on the deal and the money that the Bulls can realistically offer him. Maybe it's just another 1 year deal, right? Maybe it's just a 1 year deal, and then Lonzo can take another year to kind of prove he can stay healthy in the NBA. And then at that point, he'd still be, 28 years old? And then he can go off and then sign a deal with another team. Winton, if Lonzo was willing to sign a deal for a vet minimum, keep him. It's going to probably have to be a little bit over the vet minimum, Winton. Let me throw this to you, Winton. How much over the vet minimum would you have? Well, keep in mind, vet minimum is only $3 million. So between the vet minimum and any other offer, what would be the most you would think would be a fair offer to keep Lonzo Ball on the team, even if it is just a 1 year deal? I'd like to hear from you on that one, Winton. Easy Cook says, I say pay him. It's not my money. Hey, listen. I can fit. It's not my money. I feel you. There. Let him be somebody else's problem. Too many injuries. Well, that's the thing. Is it somebody else's problem if it's $8 million? We damn near played Javon Carter that to sit on the bench. Javon Carter's getting paid almost $6 million to do nothing but be a bald head. I'm on Locked On. Between 5 and 7, fair. I can understand that. Vaughn, up to $10 million. I do it. 2 years, second year team option. That's a solid deal. Let him podcast at the UC. All right, Rob, what are we talking about? Add a lifetime supply of Portillo's in Lonzo's contract. Well, no. First of all, that would be more enticing if you're trying to get Zion Williamson in the door than Lonzo Ball. Just in my humble personal opinion on that one. But hey, it is what it is. Quentin, pay him. Down the line, he could be our Udonis Haslem. Okay. I see where you're getting at with that one. I definitely see where you're getting at with that one. I just thought it would be an interesting conversation to have. Is the prospect of keeping Lonzo Ball around for the team. JDH, 2 years, $15 million for Zoe. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that deal at all. So a lot of things to look at for. But yeah, just something interesting to talk about. I think what Lonzo, when you look at what Lonzo and how he's positively impacting this team, that there's a conversation to be had there on if Lonzo's worth keeping. Again, I'm just saying a conversation worth having. I'm not saying for sure. I'm not saying come hella high water. I'm just saying that, hey, if we're looking at things objectively, maybe there's a reason, maybe there's some things that Lonzo Ball can bring and help benefit this basketball team. But all right, we're going to have to get off that now, man. We're going to have to get into a brief break here. We're going to get to a message from our next sponsor, and that one is FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just go to FanDuel.com to join today. Again, FanDuel is giving you the leg up. They're giving you all the information that you need to make an informed bet on the same exact page where you can place your bets. That means you don't have to go to ESPN. You don't have to go to a bunch of other sites to get the information that you need to place your bet. Get it in, get the information all at FanDuel.com. Plus, you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. All right, Bulls fans, before we get up out of here, I want to talk about the young rook, the young bull. Listen, Little Boozy Vert got to stop. I hate that. I've never hated a Stacey King nickname more than Little Boozy Vert. And the fact that y'all are saying that, I hate every one of y'all. I hate everybody. I hate everybody that's saying that. All of y'all. I hate that. I hate that nickname. I hate that. It is what it is. Now, I want to talk about the improvements that Matas Buzelis has made. So far on the season, Matas Buzelis has played 270 minutes. In that time, the Bulls are a positive 8.7 point differential with Matas Buzelis on the court. The Bulls are also now averaging 4.2 points more per 100 possessions with Matas Buzelis on the court. You look at opposing defenses. Teams are averaging 4.5 points less per 100 possessions when Matas Buzelis is on the court. What does that mean? Matas Buzelis has gone from a player early in his rookie year who looked lost, who didn't understand the physics, who was getting caught up in the physicality of the NBA game, to now a player that with more minutes and the confidence building, he is having a positive impact for this Chicago Bulls team. And I think that that is huge. To already, you're talking about a player that 24 games into his rookie season has gone from a huge net negative to a huge net positive in just a month and a half. That's the potential of Matas Buzelis. That's why people were excited when they said that Matas Buzelis could be the steal of this draft, because Matas is the type of guy who's going to go and grow through the mistakes that he has to get through, and he's going to come out on the other side of that learning something, right? And he's exciting to watch. He's active. He doesn't back down. He has the right mentality. And this isn't, again, to put him in any type of light against any other player. This is just to talk about how good Matas Buzelis has quietly been for the Chicago Bulls over the last month, basically. Through the ups and downs, the being in and out of the rotation of Billy Donovan, to getting minutes one game, not minutes the next game, Matas Buzelis is quietly putting together a really, really good rookie season. And the stats sheet isn't going to show it yet. But if Matas Buzelis keeps this up, if he can keep this up, he is going to have probably one of the better rookie seasons we've seen in the Bulls for a while. So far through the month of December, only 4 games, small sample size, 11 points per game on 48% shooting, 50% shooting from three-point range, 1.5 assists, 1.5 blocks per game. And guess what? His fouls have gone down. He started off fouling almost 3 times a game, down to 1.5. Matas Buzelis is learning on the fly, and he's doing it in a way that's also impacting the Chicago Bulls positively. It's easy to learn on the fly when you hurt your team. And what Matas has done now is Matas has made it into a situation where Billy Donovan almost can't afford to play Matas Buzelis because he's having such a positive impact on what the Chicago Bulls are doing. The stat sheet showing it, the advanced analytics is showing it, the eye test shows it. We just got to hope that with Patrick Williams coming back and getting healthier, because hopefully that happens at some point, is that Billy Donovan doesn't allow Matas Buzelis to fall out of that rotation again, because there's something special here with this kid. There is something special here with him. We just got to continue to develop it. And Matas, who's already talked about how Peter Patton has helped him work on the shot. He's already talked about how Wes Unseld has helped work with him. Keep investing in your young guys. That is your future. It's sad that Billy Donovan sometimes is the last one to really realize that. But we got to keep investing in this kid, because he's the player, one of the players, I'm not saying him alone, is that can really help change the trajectory that this team is on. Maybe not this season, but in the future. So let's hope that that's the case. That's my time for today, guys. I apologize for getting your Monday episode to you guys late. Again, technology was not my friend today. We're back on the normal schedule. So I appreciate you guys for staying patient, showing up with me on this random live at nighttime. I appreciate you guys here, man. Make sure you guys are following the show at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me at CEO Haize. We're also free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, and Amazon Fire TV. Love you guys. Go Bulls. See red, y'all. I see you guys in just a couple of hours, coming bright and early in the morning. Peace, y'all.